In a lavish aristocratic mansion, young slave girls were being auctioned off to the highest bidders. These girls, only 14 and 15 years old, had been kidnapped by Lady 𝐶𝐽, who raided poor villages and sold their daughters to depraved noblemen. As the saying went, a woman's worst enemy was often another woman. The girls were helpless, left only to cry in despair. However, one among them was no ordinary girl. She was an assassin on a mission to kill these noblemen. Using her magic, she shattered her bindings and conjured a rifle, which she used to gun down the slave traders. Another girl, disguised as a handmaiden, also revealed her true identity as an assassin, fighting fiercely against the guards with magic and steel. Watching from the shadows were two more assassins. One of them was a young aristocratic boy named Luke. With calm precision, he aimed his magical rifle at Lady 𝐶𝐽 and fired, ending her life. Luke was no ordinary child. He was a reincarnated man from the modern world, once known as the greatest assassin alive. At his side was Mila, a rookie he was training. After completing the mission, Luke and Mila attempted to flee, but a drone spotted them and the border military closed in. Mounting a rifle on their vehicle, they fought back, yet the military destroyed their transport. As they waited for dawn, Luke reflected on his past. He confessed that he had been raised as nothing more than a tool by his assassin organization, trained to suppress emotions and live only to kill. Now older, in a profession where most men died young, he planned to retire after this mission. When Mila bristled at being called an amateur, Luke seized her gun and aimed it at her before she realized what was happening. A harsh lesson in humility. Eventually, they returned to the airport and boarded a plane with fake passports. But mid-flight, turbulence shook the cabin. News broadcasts suddenly reported that their flight had been hijacked by terrorists. Luke immediately grew suspicious. The news had broken far too quickly. He realized the hijacking was a fabrication orchestrated by his organization to eliminate him. Breaking into the cockpit, Luke found no terrorists, only dead pilots and destroyed machinery. He tried to stabilize the aircraft, but a military jet locked onto them. Smiling bitterly, he accepted his fate, calling the plane his coffin. The jet fired and the aircraft exploded. In his final thoughts, Luke seethed with frustration. He had been the perfect tool, loyal to the very end. So why had the organization betrayed him? Suddenly, he awoke before a goddess. The goddess offered him two choices. He could either be reborn with all his memories wiped, or reincarnate into another world with his memories intact. If he chose the second option, he would be tasked with killing that world's hero. Luke reflected that he had lived suppressing every emotion, but betrayal had unlocked his frustration and pain. If given another life, he vowed to live for himself, not as a weapon for others. The goddess accepted, warning him of the hero's destiny. 16 years after Luke's rebirth, the hero would defeat the demon lord, only to plunge the world into chaos. Since the hero was dangerously powerful, she granted Luke the highest stats possible for a human and allowed him to select 5 skills out of 123,000. The hero, however, possessed 30 skills, most of them S rank. Luke chose Rapid Recovery to quickly restore health, mana, and stamina, Spell Weaver to create new spells, Limitless Growth to infinitely upgrade his skills, Martial Arts to master fundamental combat, and a secret 5th skill which he kept hidden. The goddess gave him 18 years to kill the hero, though she warned that he must not strike before the demon lord's defeat. If Luke could save the world without killing the hero, that too was acceptable. With that, she sent him to be born into, and I'm going to say this wrong, 𝐴 family, a noble house publicly renowned for medicine but secretly feared as a lineage of assassins. From infancy, Luke was raised under the stern guidance of his father 𝐾IAN and the loving concern of his mother 𝒔. By age 7, he was already a skilled fighter, cooking his own meals to optimize his nutrition. 𝐾IAN taught him anatomy, medicine, and assassination. Later, Luke inherited the mystic eyes of the 𝐴 family, granting him the ability to perceive mana and see with extraordinary clarity. 𝐾IAN arranged a tutor for Luke's magical training, a prodigy girl named Dia. At first, Luke doubted her, but she demonstrated immense power. Through their lessons, Luke's overwhelming mana became clear, far beyond where her Far Stone could hold. Thanks to his Spell Weaver skill, Luke and Dia began creating new spells together, ranging from gold transmutation to firearms and even cannons. Before parting, Luke gifted her a dagger, while Dia entrusted him with her precious Firestone. Over time, Luke grew into a formidable assassin. He came to understand his family's philosophy. Unlike his past organization, 𝐴ᴤ did not kill blindly. They judged targets themselves and killed only those who threatened the kingdom. This belief shocked Luke, as it clashed with everything he had once known. Years later, while searching for an assistant, Luke rescued a starving girl named Tart from wolves. Discovering her vast mana reserves, he recruited her to aid in his missions. He trained her relentlessly, and though she favored the spear, a cumbersome weapon for assassins, he crafted her a retractable version. Through grueling effort, she blossomed into a loyal and deadly warrior. Meanwhile, Luke built his alternate identity as 𝐒ᴇɪᴜ, the illegitimate son of a wealthy merchant. Under this guise, he infiltrated noble society, eventually rescuing another girl named Maha from a prostitution ring. With Maha's sharp business skills, Luke established a cosmetics enterprise, selling innovative products like moisturizers that revolutionized the market. His network grew, attracting nobles and even royalty. But the kingdom's stability was collapsing. Rebellion surged, and a warrior named 𝐶etanта, armed with a divine treasure spear, emerged as a fearsome enemy. When Dia's region came under attack, Luke rushed to her aid. On the battlefield, Dia and her 200 men struggled against 1,500 enemies. Luke tipped the balance with explosive firestones, but soon found himself face to face with 𝐶etanта, whose berserk skill multiplied his strength. The hero challenged him to a duel. Luke, knowing brute force would not win, resorted to cunning. Secretly, he had prepared a weapon from his old world. Using the reverse gravity spell, he launched a tungsten rod into orbit, encasing it in a shield to prevent resistance. At the critical moment, he let it fall. The impact was catastrophic, leveling the battlefield like a nuclear strike. Though gravely injured, Luke survived. 𝐶etanта perished, and Dia, overcome with relief, embraced him. For the first time, Luke allowed himself to feel the warmth of love, sealing it with a kiss. Back in 𝐴ᴤ, Qian congratulated Luke and revealed that Dia would be hidden under a new identity as his younger sister to protect her. Maha expanded their business empire, reclaiming her late father's company. Tart grew ever stronger, earning renown as the lightning-fast battle maiden. Yet peace was fleeting. Qian soon delivered troubling news. 𝐶etanта had not been the true hero. The real one had finally appeared. His name was Lord Apana, and he had already arrived at the capital of the Alvin Kingdom. Luke's true mission, the one the goddess had set from him from the start, was only just beginning.